Hey, this is Jeff coming at you with another episode of Bike Tricks TV. Yeah, that's what we're going to call this. I know it's super creative, but we're all going to have to live with it. So just get used to it. Bike Tricks TV, that's the thing. I want to keep making videos. But today I want to talk to you about gravel bikes. And everyone in the industry has their own idea of what the ultimate gravel bike should be, and I want to tell you about mine. So this is my new titanium frame. I designed it myself in BikeCAD. And I contracted a builder on the West Coast to build it for me. It is made out of budded titanium, and it's a concept that I'm calling Earthship. I don't have the brand name yet. It's just going to be kind of a personal bike brand for me and my friends. Pretty excited about that. We'll talk more about that in future episodes. But I wanted to take you through the feature set of what I think is important and some of the choices I made and why I made them. So let's look at the frame. Before we really get into the details, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Earthship concept. So, what I wanted was a bike that was a real gravel racer, and that to me means gravel race geometry and optimized geometry for a 38C tire that could also become a drop bar off-road bike slash bike packing slash tour divide bicycle. And so those were the feature sets that I was going after. So, first use case, gravel race. Second use case, bike packing off-road. So what I did there was give it massive tire clearance. At first I thought I wanted to use 650B tires when it was in bike packing mode, but then I realized it was just too expensive to have two nice sets of wheels. And I don't actually really like 650Bs all that much. Now I don't have a ton of experience, but I do feel like 700Cs just roll faster over obstacles. So I'm into 700Cs. So rather than doing a long dimple on the stays and giving it clearance for like a 2.1, 2.2, 650B, I just decided that 700 by 47 was going to be my max tire size. 700 by 50. So this thing fits a 29 by 2.0 tire, and I was able to accomplish that because I like long stays. I want predictability in my gravel bike, and stability while going down sketchy gravel descents. And we don't lose a lot of quickness because I have a fairly aggressive head tube angle. It's a setup I've been riding for a while. The All City Space Horse Cosmic Stallion also use a similar length chain stays, and obviously those are bikes that I've spent a lot of time on. It has braze-ons that I feel are necessary for bike packing, and it's designed around a fork that hasn't actually hit the market yet. It'll kind of make more sense later in the summer when I'm able to get my hands on that fork. But for right now, I'm using Envy's gravel fork. I think it's the best gravel fork on the market. You really can't argue with Envy. You know, they're pretty much the benchmark for greatness. So right now we're using the Envy gravel fork, and in the future you'll see it with a bike packing fork with all the mounts that you would need. Now, it doesn't have rack mounts on it because I don't really feel like you need those for bike packing anymore. Everyone just runs bags. So, now that that's settled and you kind of know more about the Earthship, what I'm going for, let's talk about some details. Alright, so before we go any further, I do have to tell you that it's going to get kind of nerdy in here. So if you're not in for the nerdiness, see you later, bail now. For those of y'all who want to hear about this stuff, let's talk about it. So, main triangle, I chose budded titanium tubing. Budded is rad because hopefully it should give me a little more compliance, a little bit livelier, snappier ride, and it's lighter weight. The budded tubes I use come from a shop in Colorado. I chose 35mm tubes for my main triangle. This seems pretty industry standard, and I felt like it was a good compromise between stiffness and compliance. I didn't want to go out on a limb and try something weird with my first frame. The key though is that I made sure that the tube that I used for the seat tube took a 30.9 seat post. This is important because at some point in the future, if I ever decide I need a dropper post, 30.9 is the smallest diameter SRAM axis post, so I can upgrade to that if I want. For the head tube, I really like the external cups. I want to see that king, so it's a 44-34 external cup. It's also a little bit cheaper. Titanium head tubes are super freaking crazy expensive, and it's a lighter head tube. For the stays, there aren't a ton of choices out there on the market. I went with S-Bend pretty beefy stays, pretty industry standard again, should be good to go. Flat mount, because that's industry standard, and I use Paragon dropouts and their hanger and axle system. So pretty cool there, pretty standard stuff. What I really want to talk to you about is the braze-ons, because that's kind of where the choice starts coming in and things get kind of interesting. So when designing a bike, cable stops, cable routing, big decisions that you have to make. And while I am planning on running a SRAM axis group, I did kind of want to future-proof this. Now, it's a titanium custom frame, which means I hope to own this for the rest of my freaking lifetime. It may not always be my gravel race bike, but it'll probably be, it'll probably be a commuter at one point, a bar bike. Who the heck knows where this thing will go? So I wanted to kind of future-proof it a little bit, even though knowing that currently I'm going wireless. And I thought the best solution there was to use Paragon's modular system. So this is cool because instead of traditional cable stops, you just use these braze-ons, and I have 4 on my down tube, cable stop, and then these 2 are shared with one cable stop, one of these bosses being used for a cable stop, as well as my 3rd water bottle. So easy peasy. On the stays, I use loops. I personally do not like zip ties on my high-end bicycle, and so to avoid that, I went with full loops. Pretty stoked about that. And because I am going access, I stuck the brake cable internally. So this will have nothing in it using my access setup, and I'll just have the cleanliness of the internal cable routing for the brake. On the top tube, we do have feed bag mounts. I kind of feel like if you don't have feed bag mounts, you're a little off the back. It's real handy, snacks. Like, we ride to eat snacks. I'm no different, so I want to keep my snacks close at hand. And then on the dropout, you will see a fender mount right there. I actually hate fenders. I avoid them at all possible costs, but there is a possibility that I'm going to move to Portland here, and I may want them. So again, it's a future-proofing kind of deal. So those are the features of this bike. The big keys here being hydration, 3 water bottle mounts. We should also talk about the weight of this puppy, because I'm real happy about that. It weighs 3 pounds, 2 ounces, naked as you see it, which I think is pretty dang light for a bicycle. So there it is. This is the current shape of the Earthship. I have a bunch of frame prep to do. I'm going to clean up some of the discoloration from welding, and obviously going to put some branding on it when I get that figured out. I hope you keep watching. I think the next video is going to be unboxing the Axis group, which I'm actually unreasonably excited about because the packaging freaking rules, and this is the nicest stuff I've ever owned in my life. So hopefully you'll come back for that, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Alright, I'll talk to you later.